Truck Talk Media.
C10 Talk, episode 289, coming at you. We've got Ricky, we've got Ellie, and this is what it's all about. I hope you guys enjoy this pod as much as I did. This story, this journey, the metal brings us together, man, and the people keep us coming back. So here we go, episode 289.
Funny enough, she was joking with me one day when we were first talking, and she's like, man, like, look at us. Wow, we would be a power couple. And it's funny because I heard that. You laugh, but I heard that, and I knew it. I right before then, but that was almost just like officially verbalizing it instead of it just being a thought. I was like, literally, we would.
Damn, son. Hey, guys, let me tell you about LMC Truck. Keeping generations on the road. Think about that. It's pretty deep. So whether your truck was handed down or something you went out and bought, odds are you were handed a bunch of paperwork, maybe a folder. In that folder was probably the catalog. You know the one, the most up-to-date and detailed catalog available today. It's like an encyclopedia for our trucks. Their website is just as detailed and informative. lmctruck.com. lmctruck.com. So whether you're restoring old memories or creating new ones, LMC Truck is here to help. They're more than just a parts company. They truly understand the lifestyle and passion of owning a classic truck. So get out there and get to work on your truck and know that LMC is here to help. You can get online, lmctruck.com, and order your free catalog today. Keeping generations on the road. lmctruck.com.
Let me tell you what Melba's Toast is packing right here. All right, we got 411 posi track out back, 750 double pumper, Edelbrock intakes, scored over 30, 11-1 pop-up pistons, turbojet, 390 horsepower. We're talking some bucking muscle.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind? That just happened.
Welcome to C10 Talk, your C10 Truck podcast.
And now I have a chance to be the best, maybe the best in the world.
My old man is a television repairman. Ultimate set of tools. I can fix it.
I said I got 50 cents in that jukebox, and all I can hear is your mouth clapping. You hear that?
Here's your host, Ronnie Welch.
What is up? What is up, C10 Nation? Back at it. Had a little break. Sorry for the delay. Was down in Mexico. Some friends, some family, enjoying, some sun, the pool, some alcohol. Just a damn good time down there. So back at it, behind the mic here, getting 289 with Ricky and Ellie out to you. This story, this journey, bringing it together. I hope you guys enjoy this pod. I did, and just getting to know Ricky more, and then completely getting to know Ellie. So they're great for us, they're great for our community, and they're obviously great for one another. So enjoy this. Check out their socials. Ellie's is easy, Hell on Wheels. There's a couple 3 E's, and I'll add it to the link, but just do Hell on Wheels. Or even better, go over to Ricky's, which is going to be Slick Rick, SLIK minus the C there, Rick, RICK 67. He's got the link there to Hell on Wheels and the Hodge Garage. But nonetheless, this is a great pod, a great journey, bringing it together. And I love that we're able to bring this story to you guys so that you guys can listen, get to know them better, and check out their journey. Happy Father's Day, you guys, this weekend, obviously, June 16th, Father's Day. So whether you're going out as a son, as a child, to support your dad, or, how do you guys do it? The kids, you wake up, you might get a little extra Father's Day love, and then you go over, you give Pops a call. Either way, I hope you're surrounded by friends, family, maybe a barbecue, a pool, whatever it might be, maybe some time out in the garage, crack a couple brews. But we hope you guys enjoy the weekend. You deserve it, and maybe you're listening to a little pod along the way. Hey, we know that every day should be Mother's Day, so let's enjoy this one for the dads out there. Happy Father's Day this weekend. Some shows coming up. We got a lot going on, a lot to do here. This coming weekend, Father's Day weekend, the 7th annual Piedmont Traction C10 Cruise In and Cookout, and that is in Mooresville, North Carolina. So over in North Carolina, the Piedmont Traction C10 Cruise and Cookout. Then in Utah, Friday, June 21st, up in Salt Lake City, the C10 Club Utah is going to have a little pre-show for the C10 Nationals honoring the 25-year anniversary of the C10 Club. Then up in Pacific Northwest, old Jake Brown himself at 72 Okra _CST. He's going to have his 6th annual 67 to 72 beach party. That's going to be July 6th. You can hit up Jake 72 Okra _CST for all the details, the 411. July 26th through the 27th in San Luis Obispo. You got the Slowdown, July 26th and 27th. That's a 2-day show now. August 10th, back up in the Pacific Northwest, Olympia, Washington, C10's on the Capitol. We've got Jen and Todd Manchester behind that one. C10's on the Capitol, August 10th, Olympia, Washington. So plenty to do all over the country. In North Carolina, Pacific Northwest, Cali, up, down, Salt Lake. We got stuff going all over. It is a great time to be a C10 enthusiast. I'll tell you that. All right, that's enough rambling on shows. Let's get into the pod. As always, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate the support. Stay out of trouble. Do what you do. Late. All right. C10 Nation. I'm pretty stoked about this one. Every now and then you have a really unique story, and then you have a really unique story. So lately, Ricky, he made the move, and him and Ellie are getting married. So we're pretty stoked in the community that we live in, the community that we are. It's like our second family. So we got Ricky Hodge, we've got Ellie Scromey, and Ellie Scromey on September 13th is going to change that last name. So she's going to become a Hodge. So at SlickRick67 and at Hell on Wheels, there's a few periods in there, but either way, after you listen to this pod, you'll know why she's Hell on Wheels. We've got a big variety today. We've got some Chev trucks, we've got some Dodge trucks, Fox body stuff, cat eye stuff, and who knows what's hidden in the back 40 that we don't know about. So welcome both of you to C10 Talk.
Thanks for having us.
Genuinely, we're so excited.
Well, it's going to be fun. So Ricky, it's so funny to think how far back, the pod is coming up on 10 years. Social media, I would say, is 10, 11 years once everybody started getting on this Instagram thing. And I just remember the first time somebody said, you got to get an Instagram account. I was like, I thought that was for like moms taking pictures of their kids and moms taking pictures of flowers when they go for a walk. And that's just the truth. And who would have ever thought, I get the Facebook thing, but I do feel like Instagram has taken the community to a whole nother level and really connected everybody. But before that, we had the forum, 67 to 72 truck forum, and you were on there. So you're OG. I do consider somebody who was on the forum an absolute OG, because if you were into the trucks then we know you're the real deal.
Oh yeah. I got on the forum, I think 2010. And there's guys that have been on there since the thing opened up, like in the 90s, mid to late 90s, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I've been on there since 2010. And it basically all started with trying to get out there and connect with other C10 guys and figure out what I was doing. I was in high school trying to build my 67 and had to tap in online and figure out different things about the trucks and connect with guys and figure out what they had while I was trying to piece together my truck. So the forum was pretty crucial for that.
Yeah. When you look back, is there anything that you do miss about the forum?
Yeah, there was a really good sense of people just blasting the internet with their progress and pictures, and it was really cool to get those step by steps. A lot of people on there would, now that I'm older, looking back, I could see how painstakingly they went to document everything and take pictures step by step and post it on there. And then I mean, a lot of that information to this day, I feel like there's guys that can look up something online and there it is. There's a picture that got posted probably 20 years ago on that forum, and it's still relevant. And guys are still using it. There's still a bunch of facts that were made on there, and it's amazing how that information has pretty much stood the test of time. And even though Instagram and Facebook have kind of taken over, and I feel like a lot of forum members have kind of switched over, like even us, we don't use the forum as much. It's still there, and it's still a great wealth of knowledge for us.
Yeah, it is. It's if you guys out there, you've heard me talk about it for 10 years. We even had Josh on one of my, I don't remember what episode, but the creator of the forum in 90, I think it was 97. And he was so far ahead of his time, and he was a young man at that time. Um, but if you want to slow things down and you have the time, I know it's not easy to slow things down at it really at all, but I still use it. I go back there and look up stuff, and I do think someday, unfortunately, that it could disappear because it does take money to keep the servers going and all that memory. And like I said, I would say I jump on it uh every other week, maybe just something, there's something I'm looking at or whatever. But one thing I'll tell you, and I don't know, for either you or the audience, or is the ads have changed. They used to be very truck specific, and now you can buy a dozen roses. There's a lot of different ads that are on there, and I'm sure that I, I will say there's probably be a prediction that someday they're going to say, hey, to keep it's almost like if you ever get on Wiki and they're like, dude, just send $2, and I could see that eventually they're going to be like, hey, if you guys want to keep this alive, you got to send, $5 to keep this thing alive. And, I would get behind that 100%, but it does take some money to keep those servers going. I don't know what the bill is, but I'm sure that there's a lot of memory there. When you think about 20 to 25 years of data, and like you said, painstaking, I can go back and look at builds that I had, and they're still there. They haven't went anywhere.
Yeah, it's almost like looking at a photo album when you go back to even your own builds and your own threads that you made. And shoot, there's times where I've even, because of getting a new phone or something, I've even lost the pictures, and I have to go back on the forum and gather all my pictures back. I mean, how many times have guys probably done that? I can't be the only one. So
Yeah.
it's incredible.
And the photo bucket, right? I always laugh. Once it was like I used to like take a picture with my little camera, and then I would go into the computer, download it, put it off to the side, and then build my thread and build the progress. And yeah, it was painstakingly a lot of work. And I was at best JV. I mean, there's some of these guys would just go to town, and the level of tech and knowledge that is and was out there. I'm sure there's some guys that have probably even, like I said, have passed, like LJ. We were talking a little bit about that, and just, time moves fast, right? And the older you get, the faster it goes. And it's pretty crazy to think that we would just sit there and, that was, my wife called it truck porn. And then my guys at work as well. It was like, it's like, okay, I'm just going to, in between stuff at work, it's like, okay, well, those guys would be watching a movie, the game, whatever, and I'd be like back in my office watching, truck porn, just getting on the thread, getting on the forum, and I don't know if people realize it, but because it's been said so many times, 67 to 72, but it's everything. It's all Chevy trucks. I mean, they have everything. They just don't. 67 to 72 square bodies, obviously 60 to 66s are going to be the most prevalent, but there's just so much knowledge there.
Yeah, I mean, one of uh one of the things that I don't even, a lot of the new generations that have, jumped onto these trucks and started building them, that are coming in pretty much, I'll say, after the forum's heyday. If for every one of you guys listening, if you want to know what it was like to use that forum in its heyday, think about going on Netflix and watching your favorite show and a new episode getting released, your level of excitement for that and how you keep coming back to see if they release a new episode, that was the same thing essentially as following a guy's build and going on a forum. And you wait a couple days, you hop on there, go log on, check, did he post something? Oh man, he posted something. You're checking out his progress. You're like, oh, that's awesome. The truck's coming along great. I mean, it was really exciting. It kept you on the seat of your pants, or the edge of your keyboard at least.
And the encouragement that you got when you did post, that was something that would, no different than social media. You get feedback and you'd be like, oh, Ricky and Renee. And for me, Keith into Billet, he loved my 68 Picacho. We became friends over that truck. And then the other thing would be you would get an email, right? So it's like, oh, this guy, Porter built just uploaded something new, and so you'd get an email. So even if you didn't jump onto the forum, you'd get an email of a thread that you were following and watching. So yeah, it was it's still there. I encourage these young guys, and if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't jumped onto the 67 to 72 Chevy truck forum, do it, check it out, spend an hour. You probably get wormholed in a little bit. There's some really fun builds that are out there. Those builds, and there is a tracker, so some of those builds, it shows how many posts, and the two-wheel drive blazer finder, and I'm trying to think some of those other ones that have just gotten so many, a lot of suspension. That's where I think Nate Porter from Porter Built made, really set the bar, because he was on that forum and he was answering tech questions, and Dino, obviously, Renee, so many OGs that started off on the forum.
I mean, speaking of Renee, it's funny because I grew up in the same town as Renee. So I even heard stories from my dad where he had had something for sale. Renee came to check it out. This is me as just single digits little kid. But it's funny how I never ended up really speaking to Renee when I was getting into building my 67. I never really talked to him one on one out in town. But then one day, here we are, we're talking back and forth on the forum. And next thing you know, he's like, come over to the house. And, he's got the Sancho truck, and it's actually funny that 67 GMC, the Sancho truck, my dad, it was telling me a story one day because I was showing him the truck and I was like, check this out. This is, Renee's truck, Sancho truck 67. And my dad's like, he's like, that truck looks familiar. And I'm thinking, oh, you know what? You seen it around or something? And he's like, that truck, he's like, I had a chance to buy that truck. And I was like, really? And Dad, if you're listening to this, I'm going to call you out. You blew it. He blew it. He didn't buy it. He couldn't see. He could not get over the four headlight front end. But apparently, a good buddy of his that he works with, their family, that he worked with at the time, their family actually was original owner. And the guy bought the truck from Milheim GMC in Merced, California. And he bought it, was using it as his little truck. And he ended up getting a new truck. And he decided to give that truck to his wife. And, this is late 60s, early 70s. Allegedly, his wife looked at him and said, that's a pickup truck. And he said, I know. And she goes, I don't drive trucks. So she stayed driving a car. They parked the truck. It sat there for a while. And in the early 2000s, unfortunately, the original owner passed away. And the son, who was friends with my dad, he was going to move out of state. And he's like, hey, Rick, I know you're into these old trucks. Do you want to buy this little 67? My dad was like, 67? Heck yeah, sure, bud. And he's like, yep. Dad was like, all right, now we're talking, and then he seen it was a GMC and he was like, hard pass. So I think it changed hands a couple times real short, and then it ended up going to Renee's. So it's kind of funny. I was like, I can't believe that, Dad. But
Yeah.
There you go. Funny
I like
story.
how it was a hard pass. It wasn't a soft pass. He's like, and
Oh,
the funny
yeah.
thing about that is back then I could see where a guy would be like, nah, I can find another one or whatever. But when you think about the level of these trucks, and nowadays you're like, because I'm not a big 67, 72 GMC guy at all, right? I feel like Chev just killed it on all facets of those. And but it ebb and flows, because in the OBS I love a GMC grill, and a cat eye I love the Chevy grill. It just, and now the GMC kills it in the new trucks. I mean, so it's funny how these different styles of trucks, and your dad's like, nah, I don't want that, thanks for the call.
Technically, I mean, a radiator sport and a grill and
Yep.
tailgate from having a Chevy, but nope, that was enough for him. He did not want it.
So would you say, and before we get to Ellie, how did you get into trucks? Well, what makes you, obviously just from dad and being in that area where there's so many old trucks?
Well, I mean, I'm certain everybody's got their story, but for me, when I was 4 years old, we went to move out of our house that I was born into, and uh, of course, being 4 years old, you don't really know what you're looking at. But as I grew up, and especially as I, started going to swap meets with my dad, car shows, and seeing different trucks around town, and asking him what that one is, what this one is, I started to figure out what I had seen when I was four. But I'm outside front of my house, cherry popsicle, 4 years old, and there's this truck that rumbles up to the front of the house. Guy gets out. It was the guy that was coming to buy our house. He came to do some paperwork. And what I come to realize as I grew up was it was a 67 Chevy long bed fleet side pickup, lowered down, half ton, 2-wheel drive. And I remember seeing the small window. I remember seeing the slanted hood, no more. His didn't even have side trim or nothing, just fully, other than the Chevy 10 badge on the fender, no marker lights. And I just thought it was so cool. At that point, I had to have one. And so as I got older, my brothers and my dad, my brother and my dad, they were into 72s. They liked the egg crate grill. And I remember my brother calling me crazy for liking the 67. And one day, me and my dad and my brother were driving, seen a 67 on the side of the road. And I asked my dad, I was like, "What, Dad? What truck is that?" He's like, "That's 67." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "That's the one I like." And I remember my dad turned to my brother and he goes, you know, he's like, what actually is so bad about that front end? And my brother's like, it's just I don't know. And what's weird is it was kind of a turning point. And I remember from then on, my dad kind of started to open up to the 67, 68 grill. And now I feel like my dad kind of, he could go either way, whether it's 72 or 67, he don't care. So it's kind of funny, but that pretty much sealed the deal for me. And then when I was graduating eighth grade, I was getting ready to, man, I'm going to go to high school next year. And I did not want to go to high school driving a new car. I wanted something old. And I kind of, 67 Camaros were too expensive at the time, like $4,000 for a roller. Laugh at that.
Yeah.
So the truck was the way to go. I could get, a cab for $200 and just start piecing it together. So that's what I did. And pretty much took me most of my high school years, but I was driving it by senior year. I got that thing going. Just a kid with a forum, and asking questions. My dad when he wasn't busy,
And a driveway.
And a driveway. I've got all kinds of stories about the community. We were great friends. No, not really.
Yeah. You mean the local housing community? The neighbors are like, the Hodges are got a new car out front. They're building some shit.
I completely tore the whole body off. The truck was running, driving. It was about 10 o'clock in the morning. I ripped the front clip cab bed off, and I was doing some work, and I wasn't ready to put the front clip and the bed back on, but I could put the cab back on because I cleaned up all underneath and painted it. So I put the cab back on, rolled it in the garage, and the front clip and the bed, I took those to a buddy's house, and where they had a lot of room. And apparently it's somewhere in the neighborhood, a guy was doing his wheel bearings or brake pads or something. The manager comes up and he's like, "Hey, sorry, man, but here's your notice. You can't be doing car work." And that guy's like, "Excuse me?" He's like, what about the guy over here?" He's like, "The guy literally blew his whole truck."
With the kid.
Yeah. So the guy's like, okay. He's like, all right, I'll go check it out. He goes, what's the address? The guy told me the address. He goes over to her house. I think it was 40 Jasmine. He goes over to 40 Jasmine, and the house is spotless. I got it all swept up, trucks in the garage, no parts outside. I mean, looked like the place was vacant for all he knew, you know? And so, yeah, he's like, huh. So he asked a couple people in the neighborhood, and they're like, oh, yeah, yeah. Kid just blew the whole truck apart. No big deal. And the guy's like, whoa, okay. So, yeah,
So is this like an HOA or what is this? What do you mean the manager?
it was an old, like, military base housing. We lived there for like a couple of years.
Okay.
And yeah, the guy was blown away. And he came up to my dad and he's like, hey, look, I didn't see it, but he's like, the whole dang neighborhood seen it. And apparently, I don't know how he did it. I have no clue how he did it that fast, but the whole neighborhood saw it. So I got to give you a notice. And my dad was like, I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah.
He's like, well, we'll just leave it at that.
That would be so cool if you still had that. Like you framed that notice. You're
Oh,
like, yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
that would be so funny. It would be a carbon copy, and your dad had to sign it, and you got the yellow or the pink version of little Ricky blowing up the whole neighborhood with his C10.
Yeah.
And you gotta love the wheel bearing guy freaking ratting you out. You're like, hey,
Oh,
good. At that point, you're on your bike still, and you're like, hey, you bastard. Yeah.
no, man. That, yeah. Well, you know what? I don't even think that guy really knew what he started because then it was on. I was like, all right, it's on, buddy. I'm going to get this thing done. I'm going to do the work to this thing, and you're not going to see it at all. And I did it. I managed to do what I had to do while we did live there. I continued to keep wrenching on it. And, I mean, a kid like 14, 15 years old wrenching on a 67 Chevy pickup, what's the big deal,
Yeah.
So
It's a rite of passage.
yeah, exactly. I was like, you got bigger fish to fry, man. So,
So
but
was your folks, like your brother and your dad, were they pretty supportive, or is this a solo deal back then? Or hey guys, are you thinking about swapping out your old motor for a more reliable LSLT based power plant? Behind each PSI harness, you get over 10 years of experience in the business, online tech support, phone support, and harnesses made in the US. That's psiconversion.com. Hey guys, UP Car Parts is having a Father's Day sale. It starts May 17th. You spend over 75 site-wide, you save 20%. You spend under 75, you save 15%. It starts May 17th, upcarparts.com. That's upcarparts.com. Save today.
Need C10 parts? Well, here at Pro, we actually have trucks. We build them, we drive them, and we deal with them every day. It's just part of who we are. We carry the best products for your truck project from the major name brands such as QA1, React, Painless, Dakota, Beltec, Borgeson, Bear, and even more. Give us a call or check us out on the web.
You've heard me talk about my gauges, Dakota Digital. I love them. Dakota Digital has the best gauges for our trucks. These kits are complete with sensors for any engine. They look just like the stock clusters, but have all the technology you'd expect from Dakota Digital. It's like a modern truck, but even better in a classic. Dakota Digital is absolutely the best in aftermarket gauges, so check them out at dakotadigital.com. dakotadigital.com. Was your folks, like your brother and your dad, were they pretty supportive, or is this a solo deal back then? Or
my brother, he went to I think it was called Wyotech. He'd went to Wyotech in Sacramento. So he's about two or so hours away. So he wasn't really able to be there to kind of help wrench. My dad, he was going to this school. He was doing some work and stuff like that. So unfortunately, my dad, he would all week he'd study for what he had to do, and I'd be going to school. And then the weekends when I was free, he would be at his classes about an hour away. So it just kind of really lined up where I didn't really get a lot of help from him. So pretty quickly had to figure out how to do stuff alone. And that's where the forum came in, because it's like, how the heck do you rip these seatbelts off? Like, there's just this boot and there's no bolt. Where's the bolt at? How do you get this? So you just yank on it, pull it out. Okay, sure. So the forum was pretty instrumental in helping me with the things that, if you wanted to just come at it like a brute, you could have just ripped it apart and broke a bunch of stuff. I didn't want to break a bunch of stuff because didn't really have enough to afford to buy replacements. So I tried to be as nice as I could and like look up pictures online. And also, when you're building the truck from a cab, it's so hard to know what you need when it's not there. So, and it's all those little details, the knobs, the brackets, linkages. So I do owe the forum a lot for basically just giving me comparison pictures to even figure out what I needed for that truck.
Well, I have to say there's a lot of bravado there for you to think at 14, 15, 16, like, nah, I got it. Like you're, and please understand this is a compliment. Like you're almost dumb enough to not know that you can't do it. So you're like, I'm going to do it. And my dad's not here. My brother's not here. Nobody's going to yell at me. So I'm just going to do it. And a lot of times it seems like people do that and they start to tear down and then it just kind of gets overwhelming and they're done. Right. Well, you were like, nah, because of wheelbearing.com. And plus I'm probably going to get my ass kicked if I blow this thing apart and it stays in the garage or whatever. But eventually you did it and you were passionate about it and you still have the truck. And that's what's so crazy is that whole journey of when you're in it, it's not the funnest. But I saw this thing with Sylvester Stallone the other day. He's like, hey, really good medicine sucks going down, but it does the job. And, same thing, right? You did a couple of years of figuring it out the hard way. And now if I asked you, are you happy that you went through that? You're like, hell yeah. It made me stronger. It made me confident. I can figure these things out. I did figure it out. So there's really not much that I can't tackle just based upon an old truck in the driveway.
Yeah, I mean, it building that truck was huge for me with so many things. I mean, one, the other thing I thought about is who wants to be that teenage kid that needs to go buy truck parts, car parts, toolbox, this, that, and the other, literally anything, and have to, hey, can I borrow your truck? Man, I can't buy, I can't haul this stuff home. Like I wanted to have my own truck, and you give a man a truck and he could do just about anything. He could haul what he needs. If somebody needs him to haul something for him, he could make money with it if he needed, like a truck is such an incredible tool for anyone to have. So having a truck as my first vehicle was pretty beneficial for that point. I didn't have to, always rely on somebody to come help me get something or pick something up. And I could even pick up parts for my own truck with my truck. So that was pretty big. I've ran into people since high school and like clockwork, it always comes up. They're like, do you still have that old black truck? And I'm like, you bet I do.
Yeah.
And they're amazed. I've had a lot of them even tell me, they're like, man, I wish I would have done the same thing. They're like, it's either because they really want one or, they wish they had done something like that and they could have learned cars and trucks, how to work on them. Or some of them, they're looking at the prices of these trucks and they're like, oh my God, if I would have started then, I could have afforded to have it now. So every which way I cut it, I'm really thankful I made those choices and nobody in my family, discouraged me from doing it. They may not have been able to help me as much as they wanted, but they certainly didn't discourage me or keep me from doing it. And it all worked out.
Yeah, super cool. And again, it's just such a journey, and people might not even have known who you were, but they knew who your truck was, and it kind of as an identifier. And again, just the rite of passage to do all that and still have the truck is it's I don't know, it's kind of like meant to be.
Yeah, I do take a lot of pride in being able to not be one of the people that's like, oh man, my first car, I remember it. I wish I still had it. I do not to salt anybody's wounds with that, but I take pride in that I still have it. And I call out my OG because it really is. It's my OG, my first vehicle ever. And that truck's been with me through all kinds of things. I've got stories for days. We'd need another like 50 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. Just Ricky's truck. So, um, you've got the truck. It's probably never going away. It's going to be in the family. I mean, if it's been this long and you've been through this much and you think about when you're starting life and a family and just, that's the time. But, when the OG has always been there and they are easy enough to work on where you can fix them. So we're happy about that. Let's jump into Ellie a little bit here. So I know Ricky and I have been doing most of the talking. What's your story, girl?
Oh God. Well, I did want to add that the black truck, Ricky like picked me up in one of our first dates in that truck, and then that is the truck that we drove 400 miles to Las Vegas from Fresno for LS Fest. So,
Yeah, because
and
they
we,
just got back
yeah, literally, we just got back.
2 days ago, 3 days ago.
It was like a week
It's
ago.
been like a
Oh, a
week.
week. Yeah,
Yeah,
because usually, oh, did you guys stay on Sunday or did you guys leave on Sunday?
you left on Sunday.
Yeah, yeah, because usually, obviously, you get there Friday, have some fun, Saturday all day, Sunday, and then hit the road there. It's before we went on, we were chatting a little bit, and the audience has heard me say it. It's that high school parking lot. Going back to building your truck, it's like I get to do all this. I know at one point I think you had posted and you were on the raceway part of it. So you were slamming gears on the straightaway, if you will, for the audience, more of the drag. You've got burnouts, you've got donuts, you've got autocross, you've got straight, you've got dyno section. I mean, there's dirt section, there's so many different things at this huge raceway in Las Vegas. So yeah, I think I remember seeing you with your helmet on and you were slamming gears.
Yeah, ironically, it's LS Fest West is always during my birthday, and I've wanted to go for like years and never like had anybody that wanted to go with me. And then I met Ricky and I was like, he's like, what are we gonna do for your birthday? And I was like, would you be down to go to LS Fest with me? And I wasn't even thinking we would take a vehicle. I just wanted to go. And Ricky was like, yeah, we could take the black truck. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So we did, and it was literally a dream come true. It was so much fun.
So is this a belated was your birthday last weekend?
It was, yeah.
Oh, sweet. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. And I mean, Ricky, come on. I mean, like what fiance wants to go to LS Fest for their birthday, dude? I mean, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you are doing, you're doing it right.
I can't quite hear you from up in the clouds.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You know.
So how did you guys meet?
So
Oh boy.
Was it Ellie, you're like, dude, I don't know who the guy is, but I like this truck. I like this truck. I see this truck. So
it was actually the Camaro
okay, yeah.
So I was going to physical therapy here in Fresno. I was not living in Fresno at the time. Ricky was in town for work, and we both ended up at the same gas station at the same time. And I was in my Duramax, which I'm just gonna start off by saying, like, when I go to gas stations in that truck, I don't know if you've seen it because you brought up the cat eye. It has a wheelchair lift that puts my wheelchair in the bed. And people see that and they see me in the truck and they're just like, oh my God, I have to go talk to this girl.
Do you need help?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's Ricky like pulls up in the 67. Oh no, he was in the Camaro. So yeah, he's like, hey, how's it going?
No. So I was like, you know what? For once, I'm gonna go harass a guy that has a cool vehicle at the gas station. So I went up to him and I was like, hey, like I really like your car. And he was like, oh, thanks.
I'm pumping gas and I just hear a voice that's not a guy, because I mean, let's be honest, these vehicles,
Guy magnets.
Yeah, when you're building them, everybody's like, oh man, total chick. No, they're dude magnets. 100
Yeah.
count on that guy coming up. I had me one of these in high school. It's inevitable. But I heard a girl's voice say,
Oh, not just a girl's voice, but a very beautiful voice.
Yeah. And so
and then you turned around and you're like, no way.
I spin around and I'm like, whoa. Like,
oh, I could only imagine. Bah, 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 bah.
He turns around, he's like, oh fuck, she's in a wheelchair.
Oh man, that's classic.
So then we both kind of made the connection. He was like, we were just talking. He was like, oh, do you live here in Fresno? And we were actually in Clovis, which is like right next to Fresno. And I was like, no, I'm in town for physical therapy. I was like, I come here once a week for physical therapy. He was like, well, next week when you're in town, we should get dinner. So that's what we did. And ironically, our first date.
The dates I've been on, I've never been picked up by the girl before. And I was gonna meet her in the Camaro over there, and
We actually we needed the truck. Okay. We needed the Duramax.
Yeah, well, she texts me a couple hours before and she's like, "Hey, I actually found an axle from my car because I found out she had the Fox Buddy." And I was like, "Okay, it's pretty cool, little Mustang." And so she texts me and she's like, "Hey, look, kind of slight change of plan." She's like, "I don't know if you're interested, but I found an axle for my car and would you be interested in helping me pick it up? If not, I can go get that first or whatnot, and then we can do dinner after, but it'll be a little later." And I was
You
like,
gotta be like, I'm getting catfish right now. There's no way this chick is real. We're driving her Duramax and she wants to go get Fox body parts.
it was amazing. So I was like, literally, I do this for myself. Like, why wouldn't I go do it with you? So I said yes, and then it hit me. I was like, wait a minute, I can't fit an 8.8 in the back of my Camaro. So then I was like, oh man, I was an hour away from home at the time for work, so I'd only brought my Camaro with me, and I didn't have my own truck. So I was like, do you by chance maybe have something to haul that? She's like, I could pick you up in my truck, and I was like, well, that's a little different for me, but yes, I'm in. Let's do it right now.
Well, I think she kind of asked you out too, right? I mean, so she's
Yeah.
really the instigator on pretty much all this.
Yeah, but I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was along for the ride, but I gotta say, like,
This is awesome.
every time I took a turn, it was the right turn. I was like, "This is awesome!"
Yeah, I would normally be screwing this up, and I just keep making all the right moves.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. She only left me one place to go, and it was the right place to go. So I was just like, "This is like brainless. It's easy." So I I uh I got the axle for her. She tossed me $100. She's like, "So this is the part where you kind of get out and you go be my legs for me." So I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So I get the axle. I get this.
Now, are you dressed up to go on the date right after, or I mean, what kind of attire are we thinking here? Like you're
I put on my second favorite pair of pants, not my first, but my second favorite, and it was great. We went to this really nice restaurant, and I had my entire crotch area brown and black from grease from an 8.8 Fox Body Mustang.
that did the guy that was selling it help you, and so the two of you threw it up in the D-Max?
He opened the garage, and I think he popped down the tailgate for me. I kind of threw it up there. Weirdly enough, he's like, "Hey, you watch Roadkill?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he gave me a license plate frame and a signed thing for Freiberger and Finnegan.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was like a weird
Connection.
little connection. And I was like, "All right, well, thanks, man."
Yeah, I'm on my first date here. I'll see you later. Like still unbelievable. So you go to this restaurant and you're driving, she's driving, right? I'm assuming you got steering wheel controls. And so she's driving the Duramax. You are the parts guy at this point. And I mean, I would almost think too, and I mean, it's probably kind of, it's good. There had to be so many butterflies for both of you for a week. So, I mean, did you talk on the phone or were you just like, no, okay, so you were talking like, okay, now we're exchanging numbers. We're going to meet up and okay. So, yeah, I mean, I got to think you guys are like, I mean, I don't know about her, but Ricky, you're like, yep,
Yeah,
I'm a pimp.
I knew I was doing quite well for myself. I mean,
Yeah.
I really did not put much thought into the wheelchair at all. I mean, it was practically like her wearing one pair of shoes or the other. I mean, she's as all of you could understand that have met her or everybody hearing this, you can already hear it in her voice. She just has this thing about her, and it's very difficult to really single the wheelchair out or focus on that. So that was really the last thing on my mind. I was just
Well, you've seen your dad make a 4-eye mistake before, and you're like, dude, I'm not making this mistake. I'm smart enough to figure out something like this this is never happening again. So you made the right move, and you were a smart man.
oh yeah.
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 Did you ever feel, Ellie, like that was something I mean, obviously that's got to be something that's probably a confidence thing where you're like, hey, this is hard, or people would possibly treat you different, or did you ever feel like people did treat you different, or did you think that it was as much in your head, or both?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm coming up on almost on September 13th, which is
When they're
also
getting married, which is
yeah,
super cool.
the anniversary of my car accident, which put me in the wheelchair. 7 years it'll be this September. So I've been through a lot at this point with the wheelchair. And in the beginning, it was like humiliated to go out in public. And now I literally am just like, I don't care what people think. But I feel like going into dating, because I've actually just like really quick gonna throw this in there. I was previously married and that was not a good relationship to be in for me. So I ended up leaving that. And so then I started dating again. And I was just like horrified because I'd had like all of this doubt in who I was as a person in a wheelchair. Um, I just I had no confidence because of like putting my confidence on another person, and that never works out right, obviously. And I very quickly figured out that that guys didn't care about the wheelchair really at all. And that was a huge surprise to me. But then when I met Ricky, I was like, oh my God, like literally every ounce of like rational thought I had about myself or any confidence I had just like went out the window. And I was like, there's no way he's gonna like me. When I picked him up in my Duramax, I was like, oh my God, he's gonna think this is so weird. Like this whole situation's so weird. And then I was like looking at his pants. He was just like covered in grease. And then like I was sitting across from him at dinner and I was just like, he was just such a genuine, cool human being. And like all I could think was, there's no way I'm gonna make it on a second date. But this is like the coolest experience I've had with another guy, with a guy. Like I was just like in awe. And then I dropped him off at his hotel that he was staying at. And I was like, he didn't even give me a hug or anything. And I was just like, oh, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. It was fun. We had a blast. And then he messaged me and he was like, all right, so when's the next date? And I was like, you sure about that? And
you sure about that?
You sure about that?
And then I ended up moving to Fresno. And the day that I moved, me and him had kind of been talking. I think it was like a week later, was it, that ended up moving?
Yeah, it was a pretty short window after.
It was crazy the timing of when we met, but he messaged me the day that I moved. I had like moved all my stuff and I was like kind of relaxing after moving all day. And he messaged me and he was like, hey, like, what are you up to? And I was like, oh, I'm just hanging out. This guy lives an hour away in Merced, right? He sends me a picture of my truck, like he's sitting outside my house. And I was like, what are you doing? So I go outside and he's in the 67 black truck. And I was like, all right, I guess here's date. What was that, date number 2?
Surprise.
No, you're going to help me move. Probably like, let's get to work. You still need to unload the axle.
So you bought a C10 and it either had AC at one time or it wasn't even an option. Well, Vintage Air has the solution for you. Their SureFit kits are designed to place the evaporator and hoses behind the dash for a factory clean look. The Vintage Air SureFit kits are the best value and the most completely engineered air conditioning system you can install in your C10. Damn, son, the choice is obvious. VintageAir.com.
Classic Performance Products, CPP back. Joe, let's talk X10 spindles. Go.
One of our most popular parts through the years has been our 2.5-inch drop modular spindles. Really popular part. Well, we've kind of taken that to the next step. We've emulated late model Corvette, Silverado, Chevy technology into our new X10 drop spindles. They use a steel hub, sealed bearing hub, really strong piece. It's oversized bearings. Definitely great for a guy using big brakes, big wheels, which I'm sure all your guys are.
You need a new spindle anyways. You're going to lower your truck. You're running a bigger wheel, a bigger brake. CPP's got it for you with their new X10 spindle. Joe, as always, thank you. CPP, classicperform.com. It's classicperform.com. Sniper 2. Are you ready to switch out that old carb for a modern EFI system? Well, Holley has a solution for you. The all-new Sniper 2. This new system was redesigned from the ground up. Available in tumbled polished or black powder coat, and there's 3 available tuning interfaces. A classic 3.5 handheld, a 5-inch mountable, which includes a GPS speedo or a Bluetooth module so you can use your smartphone. Another big bonus is the Sniper 2 has a built-in transmission control module. So if you're looking to upgrade to a 4-speed overdrive 4L60, 4L80, you now can with ease. Holley.com to get started today, Holley.com. Marquet has been in business for over 40 years. It all started in the original owner's garage. From humble beginnings of a couple parts in a garage to a 2-building manufacturing facility making over 6,000 parts, Marquet has grown to be one of the country's premier truck parts manufacturers. They have made their original parts from the original trucks. All parts are manufactured in-house in Oklahoma City, USA. They offer quality parts built by Americans for old American-made trucks. So when you're looking for body moldings, bed strips, bedwood, and so much more, think Marquet. That's mar-k.com.
He sends me a picture of my truck, like he's sitting outside my house. And I was like, what are you doing? So I go outside and he's in the 67 black truck. And I was like, all right, I guess here's date. What was that, date number 2?
Surprise.
No, you're going to help me move, probably. Like, let's get to work. You still need to unload the axle.
Yeah, so Ricky is full of surprises, and one of many reasons I love him. Because
how many years has it been?
Oh man. Okay, so let's see. Carry the one. This September, man, that's gonna make a year. Yeah.
1 whole year. Wow. Well, it was meant to be.
Yeah,
he proposed on September 13th.
No. We have not known each other that long.
Oh. So when will it be a year? It will be a year in September.
Yeah, we'll have known each other for a year in September.
Me and my buddy Johnny, we have a little thing we say. Can't believable. This is can't believable. Can't believable. I can't believe it. Oh my.
Ron Burgundy there, you know. So.
Oh yeah. You guys are. I mean, it's meant to be. And when you think about it, I wonder too. Of course, I'm gonna get. There's guys that are in the truck scene or car scene or whatever that aren't great, but there's a lot of guys that are great. So it's cool that you have that common kind of, car thing. And of course he's a car guy. How did you get into cars?
Well, I used to be a horse girl, which is funny to think about how much my life has changed. And I was only 17 when I had my car accident. And obviously my world literally like flipped at that point. They told me I'd never walk again. And I don't know if you've ever ridden a horse, but it involves your legs, a lot of your legs. And I did get on a couple times after my accident, and it was so sketchy, like you're basically putting your life in the hands of this animal, because Lord knows if something were to happen, you can't save yourself. So I kind of just drifted away from that. And the guy that I was dating at the time, he was really into him and his family were really into cars and motorsports and all of that. So I have them to thank for my passion. I was with him for 7 years. So naturally I just I was in it every day, and he really showed me like how cool this industry is and how cool the people are. And yeah, I ended up buying my Fox body after that relationship ended, and I've wanted a Fox body forever. I've also wanted a C10 forever, which is ironic that I met Ricky. And yeah, my passion it just keeps growing and growing, and my knowledge keeps growing. He teaches me like incredible things that I never thought I'd ever learn. And yeah, it's just up from here.
Did LS Fest and that level of passion? I mean, when you think about somebody who loves Fox body, obviously you got a Duramax, you got the Camaro, you got the C10. Does that just keep adding, for you? Is that those type of events?
Oh, hell yeah. There's just something about the like rush and the thrill of being around like loud engines that's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Something to you.
No, you don't have to. I mean, it's so cool. We're so blessed to have and be able to. And I think it's cool because for you guys being younger, I saw a post the other day, and my son, he's just turned 22. But the post was almost kind of like it just said, hey, this might be the last generation to really enjoy these cars, right? Meaning kind of your generation that, and I hope that some 16-year-old's gonna love the cars, and it will eventually continue on, but I don't know that it will to the same level right now, where I feel like we're in just a heyday, right? You guys being in Cali, you have some different things that you have to kind of work through, but ultimately it's just so cool that you guys are still so passionate. Ricky was passionate from a very young age, obviously 4, something made an impression on him. And then, something that else made a very big impression on him was you, and you guys come together and yeah, it's pretty cool to think that, it's really kind of meant to be.
It really feels meant to be 100%.
I think one of the things too is, and for the audience, you do so many things. You're not limited by your situation. You are definitely active, doing your things, not letting things stop you. You do a good job of documenting those things and filming those things, and not letting your situation limit you. And you're like, hey, I'll figure it out. I'll make it work. And it's very empowering and motivating to think like, hey, she's doing it. Let's go. So you're a motivator to people.
It's honestly really easy to forget that she is, I guess you could say disabled. I mean, people joke around all the time, even including herself, that she makes a terrible disabled person.
That is a good one. Yeah, you need a shirt like that. I make a shitty disabled person.
There's so many
Seriously.
people that, have had different stuff like that happen for them. And, there's probably a sense of fear of hurting themselves further. And I feel like there's a lot of things that kind of keep them, aside from the obvious disability they have, from doing things. And for some reason, Ellie, that never clicked. She's like, nope, I want to do it. I will find a way to do it. And
I like to say stubborn is what I am.
Yeah, I love it. And in my line of work, and I could go down a huge rabbit hole. We have people that are very not disabled, and they think that they are, and you're just like, listen, come on, let's go here. Like, we help people downstairs, we do things, and you're like, help yourself, and you are helping yourself, and not being limited by being quote unquote disabled. And again, it's very empowering, it's very motivating, and I encourage all of my audience to really follow you, watch you. And I know recently you posted, just because obviously the whole world's going to want to know when they listen to this. I believe it was a truck and it was a tire, and I'll let you take it from there. So what happened to, you know, to you?
Yeah, I'll share. I had graduated high school early. I was going to community college. I grew up on a ranch in the middle of nowhere. I was driving like an hour to get to school, an hour to get to work. And there's a lot of small logistics that went into this day. But basically, I had some stuff happen where I ended up missing my second class, and I had like hours to kill before work. So I ended up driving an hour back home. And then I was on my way back to town for work. And just all that driving, I had a low tire. I was in my '04 F-250, and my right rear tire blew out, and I was going like 70 miles an hour, and it just like threw me into the dirt. And then I rolled 6 times, from what they say, across the road. I didn't have my seatbelt on, which ended up saving my life because my roof caved in right where my head would have been. The truck ended up landing on top of me, and I was pinned like under the engine bay, under like between a bunch of things, with antifreeze dripping on my back. And it was just like, I should have died that day, is what it comes down to. And like, I wake up every day just grateful that I have air in my lungs and a memory to create that day, because like that literally should have been taken away from me. And for whatever reason, God decided that I get more time on this earth. And there was a bunch of people that really like came together and got me out of there in just enough time where I didn't die from blood loss, because that was basically what was going to end up happening. I was in the middle of nowhere, so I had to get helicoptered to the nearest trauma center. And then I spent almost 2 months learning how to use a wheelchair. And they told me, like, you're never going to walk again. And at 17 years old, I was like, whoa, I never thought I would be here, but okay. And man, I went through a really, really dark time after that, as you can imagine. Like, nobody's prepared to become disabled, which is the sad truth. But after a couple years of being in a very dark space, I just started doing some work on myself and just realizing that, like, I can't change my situation. So I can either embrace it or I can not be alive, I guess. Because there were moments where that was going through my brain also. And like, now I wake up every day and I just am grateful for what I have. And then also, like, continuing to work towards my goals, because of course I told you I'm stubborn. So when they told me I'd never walk again, I was like, we'll see about that, right? So
she walked 3 laps in her physical therapy class this morning. 3 very fast laps, my man. She sent me the video and I was blown away. So it's incredible the progress she has made from, 7 years ago till now. It's like insane.
Yeah. Working on walking down the aisle. So that'll be fun, hopefully.
Wow, that would be amazing.
But just realizing in life, like, perspective is everything. And like, there were so many things that could have been taken away from me that day. One of them being my life. But, like, if my injury, which I guess I've skipped over that part, but the truck ended up compressing one of my vertebrae, and it burst fractured, and little fragments of my vertebrae went into my spinal cord. And so I had spinal cord trauma, which they consider a spinal cord injury. And that caused paralysis from basically my belly button down. And yeah, I didn't have any feeling or movement below my belly button for like 3 years. And then my mindset started changing, and I kind of just, because like, I told everybody, like, yeah, I'm going to walk again, but you really, really have to believe that you're capable of something, especially something like this, where it's kind of like supposed to be unattainable, impossible, I guess you could say. You really, really just have to believe that you're capable, and you have to believe that you deserve it. Otherwise, you're never going to achieve that goal. And so after years of being in a dark place, I kind of like started coming out of that, started going to physical therapy, and I just like watched my body start healing. And I'm where I'm at today, where I can actually move my legs and feel them, which is something they told me I never do. So I'm just incredibly grateful.
What a story. Do you go and get MRIs to look at the trauma and see, or do they just say, hey, if you're getting feeling, then we don't really need to, your spinal cord is healing. Those bone fragments are, whether they're shrinking, dissipating, or the spinal cord is growing around them. What do they say?
So I had surgery right after the accident to have that removed. Among
Have
other
the fragments removed?
Yes. And, there's all kinds of like scientific studies on, when they do those surgeries, they're supposed to keep blood flow to the spinal cord, and that'll prevent the trauma that causes the paralysis, or there's all kinds of stuff. But they ended up removing the bone fragments. They had to wait for me to be stable enough to do that. So the fragments were in my spinal cord for like more than 24 hours. So they got them out. The damage was done. They put freaking 2 rods in my back on each side of my spine and a bunch of screws. And I've had 2 MRIs since then to like see. And what I've learned is that with like insurance companies and any sort of medical care that is involved with insurance, is they don't really look at spinal cord injuries as being able to progress and heal after 1 year post injury. So they kind of just like wrote me off. And the physical therapy place that I go to is actually not like traditional physical therapy. It's more of like, I don't want to say gym, but like essentially that's what it is. Like I pay out of pocket to go there, and they are all about like neuro work where it's like repetitive movements and almost like tricking your brain into remembering how to walk again. And I physically have seen it like change people's lives, including my own. So the place that I go to, it's not like they're like, oh, you need to get an MRI. We kind of just go with what our bodies are telling us. And
What's working?
yeah, exactly.
Does that as you well, first of all, one of my thoughts, and again, so much like kudos to you for being stubborn and being who you are. And again, even more of a motivator after I hear this, but it would have been easier to die, right? And you think about that, and like you're saying, it's like, okay, I'm 17. I could, we all are the way we are at 17. You're a ranch girl, you're riding horses, you're going to community college. You've probably played it over in your brain a million times over. What it could have, should have, if I would have not went home and the air and this, but you are where you are now. You figured that out. It's all about perspective, but it's hard now, right? And and I'm not comparing it all. I am going to, but I'm not comparing it to Ricky at 14 tearing down a truck. But you two are so like, yeah, we can do it. We can do it, and we're gonna do it. And I feel like that's part of the connection. Uh, Cars is merely interesting, right? But the people behind the wheel of that said car, and the two of you are just it's a synergistic thing where it's powerful, but oh my God, when the two of you get together, it's unstoppable. You know what I mean? Wonder Twins unite, you know? Yeah,
Funny,
it's awesome.
funny enough, she was joking with me one day when we were first talking, and she's like, excuse me, she's like, man, like look at us. Wow, we would be a power couple. And it's funny because I heard that you laugh, but I heard that and I knew it. I right before then, but that was almost just like officially verbalizing it instead of it just being a thought. I was like, literally, we would be
Yeah.
a
Yeah. Well, Ricky's trying to upgrade the wheelchair. He's like, well, if we put these bearings here and we can do this to the truck and lift it up faster. And yeah, I can only imagine. And then you're like, yeah, but what about this? So yeah.
Honestly.
So so do you, I guess from the career perspective, what do you both do, and how does that play into everything that's going on in your lives?
So we have a lot of goals and ambitions that we are determined to meet. And like I was kind of saying earlier, kind of hand in hand with my injury, is like life is too short to not do what you want with your life and do what you love. And like I will be damned if I got a second chance on this earth and I'm going to spend it sitting in an office working on a computer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So currently I work remotely and I do bookkeeping for a company. And then I also do social media on the side because I have my Hell on Wheels account, but I also have my Walk for Faith, which is all about like my injury and recovery. And I do like almost like online coaching for people through that. Because I feel like everything happens for a reason. I know everything happens for a reason. And I know I was put in this situation and I am the person that I am so that I can help people. And so that's kind of where I take that page. And then having our passion for the automotive industry, we have like a whole other mission to accomplish together, which
basically, I mean, starting off, of course, with C10s, I quickly started to realize in high school that it's not even just C10s or Chevys, it's all classic cars,
Mm-hmm.
all it's almost like the commercial with the puppies, in the arms of an angel, and you got the, black and white. It's like that, but it's let's just show a junkyard with old cars. These were once people's pride and joy, and now they're just abandoned out there. And that's a shame. We need to do what we can to keep those classic cars, the memories they gave generations, above us, plus the memories they can give us and the generations below us. We got to get these classic cars in trucks, vans, all of them. We got to get them back on the road. So I don't know how many different classic vehicles I've had a hand in or I myself have put back on the road, but that's kind of it's kind of our mission. Is like, you know, we got to do what we can and help inspire others and motivate others that, you know, either they're already doing it but they need a little motivation, or, you know, they're not sure how to get into it. We want to motivate everybody. Get that car that's been a table in your garage for the last 20 years. Do something to it. Get it out there, drive it around, enjoy it, make memories with it. That is what it's all about. This is classic cars and the memories they give all of us, you know?
Yeah,
So
it's so true. And I mean, you guys are both motivators. Obviously, I was thinking the whole time, I'm thinking Ellie is a motivational speaker. I mean, you could definitely have a job going around and telling people like, hey, you can feel sorry for yourself all day long. And honestly, in today's world, I mean, people that are not quote unquote disabled need to hear this just as much as somebody who is disabled, right? So it is pretty powerful. And I saw a boat sticker one time, or a sticker on a truck that was for a boat, and it said, "Hey, you only have 18 summers with your kids. You should take them to the lake." And you're like, "Holy shit!" Like that hits hard. And it's funny that you say that. Like the table that's in the garage. I got a buddy of mine. My anniversary's coming up this year, and 25 years ago, I drove a 1950 Merc, away at my wedding, and that car has not been driven except for one time. I helped him move it from one house to another, and I'm like, bro, now your kids are both graduating. Like you just make memories with your kids and your families and get those cars. They don't have to be high end. They can be stinky. They can be just be running and not just a pile in the garage that's taking up space with four flat tires. So whatever it is, get these things on the road and enjoy them, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Amen. Amen to that.
Yeah, you just don't.
you do want to make sure that the tires have good air pressure though.
Yeah, yeah, do that if you're going to take it out on the freeway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's pretty it is pretty amazing. So tell us a little bit more about Walk for Faith. So is that something that and then with the social media that you do, is that something that you use and you do travel and talk to people, or do you try to motivate through social media?
I'd say I definitely don't travel and talk to people because it's scary and I get stage fright really bad. And social media is an amazing platform to be able to like reach people and reach so many people also from the comfort of your home, right? The coaching that I do is pre-recorded stuff, so that's also easy. And I when I started realizing that, like, you know, everything happens for a reason, I started learning and diving into like, because, you know, everybody does the whole like play the victim. Why did this happen to me? And I feel like we all have purpose in life. And this just felt like my purpose was to be that person that I needed when I was first injured, you know, be that for other people, along with, you know, sharing like my perspective on life in hopes that it could change somebody else's perspective on life. And all of this just make the world a better, more positive place, because Lord knows there's a lot of negativity out there. So I launched my Walk for Faith kind of with the verse, 2 Corinthians 5:7, we walk by faith, not by sight, because that was like my journey of life now, was walking by faith, not by sight, literally not seeing myself walk, but trusting the process kind of. And I've been able to make some crazy, amazing connections and reach thousands, millions of people that way. And I just am incredibly grateful for that platform. But my heart obviously is in the automotive industry. And that's where I found myself like wanting to post car content on that page. And I was like, I mean, you know, social media is so niche. And I was like, the people here don't care to hear anything about Fox bodies and trucks. Like, so that's when I launched Hell on Wheels. And I kind of feel like I live two different lives sometimes, because people see me and they're like, oh, look at this girl learning how to walk again, like how wholesome. And then like my other page, I'm like doing burnouts and like it's just it's just funny. I
Yeah,
love
you lead two different lives. Do you ever cross it over? Do you ever say, "Hey, this"? Because to me, if I'm watching, I would see more crossover on, faith walk, realizing that you're doing what you're doing on Hell on Wheels. Maybe not so much going Hell on Wheels to faith, but to me, it's all empowering. So either way, just motivating. It's funny because you say, well, I want to be a powerful person. I want to be somebody that somebody can look to when they're in that, that first stage. I don't think you would have listened to yourself. So that's obviously the nut you're trying to crack because you're so stubborn, but that stubbornness is who you are, and it's gonna get you to where you are. And so you talking to, 17-year-old Ellie's not listening, but I could see where you probably do deal with that, and you're like, hey, I've been there. I'm that stubborn person, and the days get better, and working through that. So I'm you need to get over any fright of talking to people that you have at all. I'm sure Ricky works through that with you because I mean, that's just part of it. Like what you've been through in your life that's merely interesting, to the power that you have with young kids and people and driving. And I mean, I'm sure you've thought about it, but yeah, you're absolutely gorgeous. You speak well. You would you've got the courage. It's in there somewhere, whether it's wrapped in stubborn courage stuff. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens and what you guys are able to do in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Obviously, you're so passionate about cars. I love the variety. What's the variety? How does that happen? Just you just find something. You're like, well, this is a little puppy that's abandoned. I need to take this little puppy. Well, this little cat, and you guys are like the foster home for really cool shit. Though, I mean, you have cool stuff. There's
Yeah.
nothing that's not cool.
I feel like Ricky, his black truck was a dream of his, so that's obvious why he ended up with that. And the same with the Camaro, like also a dream of his. His K10 was his dad's truck, so that was
The K10, my dad bought that, I believe, in 2001. And let's just say, I remember my dad, it was either go to school in the 89 Tercel with a perfect heater, or it was freeze your butt off till you're right about to get kicked out the door in the K10. And I chose the
Duh.
K10.
Yeah, duh.
I begged my dad sometimes, can we take, he didn't even give me a choice sometimes. And I still told him, can we take the K10? So the K10 was my dad's, and he kind of lost interest with it, gave it to me while I was in college. That's why I have that truck. It's special to me for that and the memories. That's the literal first vehicle I ever drove myself was that K10. So very cool. The crew cab that came next. I was going with a buddy of mine to this, out of all places, a Volkswagen junkyard.
So for the audience, swept line.
Yeah, so
60. Okay, 65.
200. It's a factory crew cab, 3/4 ton 4-wheel drive, power wagon. I seen that truck with no glass, no interior, no drivetrain, and it's just sitting on some blocks in the back of this Volkswagen junkyard.
I literally think you must have posted that on the forum because I totally remember this. Like you posted it and it was like in pieces or something. You're like, oh, look what I found.
I walked up on it. I didn't even know. I knew it was Dodge because it certainly wasn't Chevy and it certainly wasn't Ford. So I knew it was Dodge, but I didn't even know what year it was. I snapped a picture of the VIN, went home, decoded it up, and was like, oh my God, okay, it's a 65. I thought, how cool is this? I can have a crew cab, but still have a 60s truck. Go to junkyards with my buddies. We can all pile in there, go rip some engine, transmission, axle, whatever it is, out of the junkyard, throw it in the back, and we could all have a fun day in a 60s truck, So that's when that started. After that, I got a 59 Buick from a buddy of mine. I wanted a kind of a 4-door cruiser car, and a buddy of mine was getting rid of it, and I was so sad to see it go. And he's like, you know what, you are the right home. Let's make a deal on it. So I got that car from him, and what a fun car. I mean, everybody sees it. They see what the Buick calls it Delta wings, but they see the fins and they're like, man, what is that thing? A 59 Cadillac or is it a 59 Impala? No, it's a Buick, you know. It's funny because they had the commercial and they're like, that's not a Buick, you know.
Yeah.
It's just, it's
Yeah.
the same thing. I was driving the car around and people are like, what's that? I'm like, it's a Buick. And they're like, that's not a Buick. I'm like, it's a Buick.
Yeah.
So that's I got that car. After that, I really wanted a van. I had a 66 Chevy G10 van for a little while, but they're so stubborn with the cooling system that I ended up, I guess you could say, upgrading for performance wise to a 76 G10, little short wheelbase panel van. So I got that. Um, I've got a 72 Blazer that I'm
Yeah.
putting together.
Okra, Blazer.
A lot of that going on my Instagram right now. That's the project to kind of get going for the summer, just because why not? So putting that together. I think I ran through.
You
That's
kind of
finally
skipped the
about it.
Camaro.
I did skip the Camaro. The
Yeah.
67 Camaro, oldest memory I got is about second grade. My dad dropping me off, and I'm telling him how I want a 454 RSSS Camaro. Well, my style is adjusted a little bit, but I've always wanted a 67 Camaro. I have the two 67 C10 and 67 Camaro in the garage. And so I completely put that thing together from a bare shell. And it took me 9 months. I got it all together and took it to Arizona, your neck of the woods. Took it over there to Tucson Dragway for the
Zip
drag.
tie drags.
Yeah. So took it over there and had a blast with it. Weirdly enough, the car actually, just from the different body panels I found and the color I found them in, the car actually ended up having the same paint scheme as the General Mayhem 68 Charger, like Freiburger's got. So for fun, I made a little gold hood scoop and I put it on there and I called it the General Marrow. And I took it and I took some pictures with the General Mayhem and my Camaro next to each other and whatnot. So it was a fun trip. And that car has been so dependable. Just hop in it, go wherever. I've taken it out of state a couple times now, all up and through California. It's such a blast to drive.
Cool. Yeah. The variety is unreal.
Ellie, she thank God for her. She contributed some Fords because we didn't have any Fords in the stable. So
I don't think many people say thank God for Fords, but since we are a Chevy driven podcast, but Fox bodies they probably get a pass. They're pretty badass.
Yeah, that's kind of where my brain's at with them too. We have the newest vehicle we own is my '05 Duramax, which Ricky's like almost like it's too new for him.
The thing's practically brand new. If I can remember going to the dealership and hopping in it, yeah, I mean, and then even the commercials on TV, and I'm as young as I am, then that's a new truck, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
This guy literally dailies his Camaro and his C10. Like that's what he drives, and everything else, and the van and the crew cab. Like, so I come in with my '90s Mustang and my 2005 Chevy Silverado, and he's just like, whoa, I don't know about this chick.
I'm like,
yeah, these are both too new for me.
Like,
yeah.
How do you open these? Do you sit them like normal? Wait, these have seatbelts? That's amazing. You know?
Yeah, seatbelts, power windows, reliability.
I originally bought my white Fox body to drag race it because that's what I wanted to do with it. I got it cheap because it's a 4-cylinder, and I was gonna LS swap it. Like I just wanted to do a budget build, and I met Ricky, and he has really shown me the like value of driving your cars and not just having them for one purpose. So we very quickly, like, the 4-cylinder gets 25 miles to the gallon, and we live in California, so we're like, this is our little like commuter car, but it's also like a badass car, you know. It's a Fox body Mustang.
The amount of people that roll up seeing the drag lights on there wanting to race you. She's got so for everybody listening, she's got a set of drag light weld wheels on there, and she's got, I think they're like 15x8 rear with like 15x4.5 15.5 front runners. So I mean, the thing's got a mean little stance going down the road. The windows are so dark you don't even know her name. You know, like she was rolling down the freeway and you get some guy that comes up and he's like, all right, we're gonna run him, and then he's like, what is that?
Yeah, little 4-banger in there. That's awesome. That's awesome. There's a bunch of little gerbils in there going as fast as they can, just winding it up.
My Duramax is like deleted and tuned. So like that thing makes like really decent power. So I go from driving that and then I hop in the Fox body and I kid you not, like I'll be merging on the freeway and I'm just like praying for my life. I'm like, please,
Floor it, Harold.
please nobody run me over. So then we talked about V8, just V8 swapping the Mustang and like giving it a little bit of power because that's what I wanted. And I was given a 302 engine from a friend that I met at Sacramento Raceway. And
rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, Sacramento Raceway. They tore that strip down.
I saw that. Yeah.
Me and Ricky actually got to go to like some of their last events, which was really cool. And we got some like cool footage there. But anyways, then this Fox body comes up for sale in Fresno, and it was like this killer deal, and it was a 4i Fox body, which is like the earlier front end.
That's kind of, is it primer or gray or both?
It's got
primered.
It's got that new, Dodge cement gray.
Yeah, I like that. That is, it just doesn't have quite the sheen, right? So the finish
it
seems a little flatter. It seems
Yeah.
just a scotch flatter, but okay.
Just a scotch.
And
Mhm.
Rick was out of town for work, and I sent it to him on Marketplace, and I was like, oh my God, because he knew I was looking for like that front end Mustang.
Let's not forget it's a T-top.
Oh, and it's
factory
a
T-top.
Oh, love T-tops. Such a cool thing. I wish they need to bring T-tops back.
Real.
T-top hatchback. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah.
What else could a guy ask for, or a girl?
Factory 5-speed 302 car. GT.
So they wanted a couple $100 for it, and I was like, Ricky, like I could afford this. And he's like, I'll send you the money. Go look at it right now.
I'm calling my boss. I'm like, I'm feeling kind of sick today. I don't know if I can make it. I'm like, we got to get this thing.
So
make it happen.
We got the car, and she needs a lot of work, but I got invited to take the car to Foxtoberfest this October and put it in the booth for 5-0 Asylum, which is like a Fox body group. And I told Ricky, I was like,
honeymoon?
Yeah.
It's gonna be our honeymoon.
And he was like, I'm down. So that's
she's got the engine for it and a couple other parts, and all that's left is everything. So we're looking great. It's looking great.
It's nothing you two can't handle.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So going forward, our whole car projection, we're kicking off the Hodge Garage because that's like obviously going to be our conjoined last name in the future. And we're going to be just pursuing our mission. Our wedding in September is going to be actually a car show, and the ceremony is just going to be like a tiny little part of that. So the car show, we're going to make it a yearly thing. And my physical therapy place here in Fresno actually is the reason that I'm able to walk down the aisle. So we're making it a goal. We're trying to get together a car to raffle off and give the proceeds to them and make that part of the yearly car show in a way for me. And I'm sure Ricky feels the same way, to give back to these amazing people who are doing incredible things for the disabled community. And yeah, we're just like going onward and upward. We have merch launching where we're going to be like promoting keeping classic cars on the road and just like having fun with it.
Where will so many things. So we got Hodge Garage, gonna have merch. You guys are getting married on September 13th in Fresno. At the place you get therapy, or just a different place? But it's gonna be a car show.
It's gonna be a car show in downtown Fresno.
Okay, so DTF, and yeah, you can't use that. Actually, that's a different acronym for something else. So downtown Fresno. Different acronym, downtown Fresno, a car show, and then in hopes of on a yearly basis having a car show where annually a car is raffled off and the proceeds will go to the physical therapy place where you go.
Yeah, because they have a nonprofit that will pay if there's somebody like in my situation who cannot afford to go to therapy, because like I was telling you, it's all out of pocket. They will sponsor somebody. And like I have been in those situations. Like after I got divorced, I had absolutely no money. I was working part-time and I just wanted to get back to physical therapy because I hadn't done it for so many years. and they paid for my first couple sessions just to get me back in the swing of things. And that, like, I mean, I was going through a divorce and just like living on my own, and it was a really bad time for me. And
that was huge.
It was huge. And they do that for all different ages, all different injury levels, all different.
What's that place called?
It's called SCI Fit. So SCI-FIT.
Like SciFit?
Yeah.
SCI Fit.
It stands for Spinal Cord Injury Functional Integrated Therapy.
So 2 T's or 1 T? Yeah, 2 T's? 2 T's? Just SCIFIT.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And do they have the social media as well?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yes.
All right, cool. So I think the key is obviously it's now, when does Hodge Garage kick off? When does this kick off? September? Like what
we're kicking that off in the next month.
Okay, so that's kicking off, and then obviously married September, and then the 5-0 Asylum, you guys are going to head out for possibly, and where is that at? Where are you going?
It's in North Carolina.
Oh, awesome. So you gotta now, so you got the Duramax that's going to tow the car, so it's not the swept line, thank God. That's a long ways to go.
It'd be a little rough in the
It
swept
is,
line.
yeah.
And
that's in October? October what?
I don't know. It's like mid-October.
Well, I just wonder because that's fall 10 in North Carolina is the C10 Fall Revival. I think it's the 20th and the 21st is the C10 Fall Revival.
We're going to both?
Are we going to both?
You might. I was almost thinking, man, if I'm there, I want to come by and say hi, if depending on where it's at. But they moved, so hell, I don't even remember. I went to the Fall Revival about 2 or 3 years ago, and I'd have to remember Oxborough or something like that. Oxborough, and it was in the middle of nowhere. And now they've got a big camping spot they're at, and it's definitely on my bucket list because they move venues. But okay, so you're getting married in September. Hodge Garage is gonna come out any week now. You've got 10 cars that are literally I just can't wait to see like where they're all parked someday. That's a lot of shit. And that's from a guy who has a lot of shit. I have a lot of shit. Okay, so what's next? So if you guys are getting married, you're still going through therapy, you're gonna walk on September 13th. You're gonna probably walk even sooner than that because you're gonna be ready to go, and it's pretty exciting stuff. Your families are both behind everything, right? This is great times ahead. 2024 September 13th, what a day. What's next? What's I mean, that's so much. You're just gonna chip away at the cars that you have and get and do you have a name for this, the Gray Goose? What are you calling this thing? What do you call this fox body?
I'm dying.
It's kind of just
Primer Joe, or what do we call this thing?
Call it the GT because it's a GT. That's as far as the name has gotten. But
it took a lot of that's it just called to us naturally.
You should call it like GT for gray something. I don't know, but yeah, I'm sure you guys will come up with something. Are you gonna rob Peter to pay Paul now? Or are you gonna take some parts and some different things off of one car to another just to get it ready for October? I mean, you got a wedding to pay for, you got parts to pay for, you got a trip to pay for, you got a lot going on.
Well, the 90, it certainly was trembling when we brought the GT home. We're just like itching to get in there and rip part. We're like, no. The 90's been good to us. So
yeah,
the GT will get its own set of parts completely thrown at it. And
yeah, the white fox body, my 4-cylinder, we're leaving, and we're just gonna daily that thing. We've driven that thing all over. We drove it to Salt Lake City. We drove it to San Francisco. We've driven it.
Went to a little Giants game.
Yeah, we went to a baseball game in that thing. Like,
so you have hand controls in the 90, hand controls in the Duramax, and hand controls in the GT, or not yet?
Not yet.
The hand control is pretty sweet. Don't tell the DOT about this, but they can come out and go into any car. So she's actually, it brings me great joy to toss her hand controls in one of my cars and be like, hey, you're driving this today.
Yeah.
So
I told him after this podcast, actually, I was like, I want to drive the swept line because we just put a new front axle in it and it has disc brakes. Because the last time I drove it was with the drum brakes and my hand control, using my hand to use the drum brakes, and then it has no power steering. I was just like, oh my God, Ricky, my arms are so sore.
Oh my gosh, you got a workout in
Yeah.
trying to stop that thing.
So, anyways, I told him, I was like, I want to drive it because I want to know how much better the brakes are and the steering, apparently, with the new axle.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
my son he's got a new job now, but he was working at a place and that's what he did. He converted cars to hand controls. So he actually had a Camaro come in and she was an Olympian. She was a swimmer and she broke her neck, I think quadding. And she's I don't know, she has a couple golds and she's Olympian. And she locally here in Phoenix, and she brought in a Camaro, and they're like, "Hey, we want to take the hand controls off." And he's like, "Okay, what are you guys gonna do with the car?" And they're like, "We're gonna sell it." And he's like, "Okay, I'd like to buy it." So he has a 2019 Camaro 6.2 that he pulled everything off of, and so yeah, I'd stop by there a few times and show me, it's like, it's really easy, and because I think myself and probably the audience thinks before I knew that there would be something a little bit more intuitive, but it's kind of depends, right? I just wonder if on the older cars, does it really matter, or do you run into problems with it with older cars, or is it super easy with newer cars, or how does that work, or are you guys just figuring it out on the fly?
My hand controls are a little bit less, they're very, very, very simple, like simpler than probably anything you've seen from the sound of it.
So are they kind of, and I don't mean this negative, they're old school, archaic, they're a little old, they're a little older, they're not as fancy, and
it's literally like two aluminum clamps that slide over the pedals, and then there's like bolts and like wing nuts that you just tighten down the bars on the pedals, and then I have two long sticks, and one of them's gas and the other lever's brake.
You could actually use one hand.
One hand.
There's times where we do a trip somewhere, she starts off driving or whatever have you, and we end up switching. And there's times where I'll hop in to go finish the drive of the trip or drive for a little bit, and I don't even take the hand controls out. I even drive with them, so it's honestly pretty easy.
They're easy. And I have videos on my Instagram of like me putting them in. It takes like 10 minutes to swap cars, like super easy. The GT does not run and drive right now, so we haven't even. It doesn't even have seats in it.
Yeah, like I can't remember exactly what he said, but there's a motor, there's wheels, and a body, and we just need everything else. We got it.
Yeah,
everything.
And we got 6 months to go. Easy money. Actually, I think it's 5 months, but yeah, who's counting? Oh my gosh. So do you go to therapy once a week now as you prepare for this journey? Is it 2 times a week, or and then do you get exhausted with therapy?
It is a mental and physical toll, but it's kind of like instead of going to the gym, I go to physical therapy, and the environment there is just incredibly positive, and the connections I make, it's all really good. But I actually work with them kind of now. So I go 4 days a week. And I spend a lot of time there, honestly.
Do you do some of their social media for them?
We kind of like partner on videos and I promote them.
Cool.
Because I was already doing that. And my physical therapist was like, you know what? I feel like we could work out a deal where maybe we could give you some physical therapy. And I was like, I'm down because I will go to bat for these people. Like they have changed my life for the better in more ways than just helping me recover like my body, but like mentally it's like family there. And the least I could do is fundraise some money for them and give somebody else the opportunity that I've had, because not everybody's as fortunate as I am to be able to come to this place, and like be given the opportunity to learn how to walk again. So for that, I'm really grateful for them. And the fact that I can go there 4 days a week is it's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, what a journey, and they're gonna be behind you the whole way, and it's gonna be cool because I could see them being at the wedding on September 13th to cheer you on. So, how do you perceive this raffle thing? Is this something where the Hodge Garage goes and finds something for $1,000 and you get it running and you raffle it off, and it's obviously I assume you'll have a branch of the Hodge Garage or something with SciFit that will end up being a nonprofit 501c3, and we can get behind that and share that and make sure we're putting that out to the world and buying tickets and helping out with that.
Yeah, so they have a nonprofit. It's called Rockability, like Rockability. And it is a 501c3. And they, like I was saying, like they will sponsor people to go to physical therapy. And again, every single person that walks through that door has a disability. So it's like a almost, it's a place that you just don't find. Like their technology in there is like state of the art, and they're really, really changing people's lives for the better. As far as the raffle goes, we kind of recently came up with this idea. And we don't have a lot of time, but going forward, like next year, we're going to definitely find a car for like $1,000, do what we do, fix it up, get it running, and make it desirable, and then raffle that off.
It'll be a fun thing for people watching to kind of see the process of the car, where it started from. And then in the end, not only will they, is that exciting to see, but they'll have the opportunity to acquire that car and have it theirs and take it to the next levels.
And then we're achieving our goal of keeping more classic cars on the road. So in hand, creating content and just, doing what we love to do.
Well, and I think you could obviously work with some amazing companies depending on the car that you get, and what you find. And you might have somebody donate the car, and obviously there's going to be lots of parts and content. And again, what you're doing, it's going to continue to evolve. And we'd love to, at least push it out to the world and let them know, hey, this is what you get. And the key with this is, it's such a positive because it is truly for a cause. It is a 501c3 where a lot of these guys, I got off the soapbox because I just couldn't stand anymore. But everybody's raffling things off because they can't sell them. So they're like, well, I want 10,000 for this truck, but I'm only getting offers of 7, so I'll raffle it off. And everybody's buying tickets and they're supporting it and whatever. But I'm like, I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I send guys, hey, is it a 501c3, and tell me where the money goes, and I'll be happy to support it and get behind it. Because we do a lot of that in the fire department, so we're always doing stuff with the 501c3. So the audience is like, what the hell is this thing? It just means that they're accountable to where this money's going, and this money's going to a nonprofit that's been, that vetted, and they are saying, hey, our money's going to go to help people, and this is what we're doing.
Yes, exactly.
Do you have a GoFundMe personally or anything that you have as well?
Me? No, I don't.
Go fund my car.
I should start that. I should put my Venmo link in my bio.
Yeah, just a little go fund my car. And yeah, I mean, let us know how we can help. If we can help, obviously, with what you have going on, I mean, that's what it's about, right? I mean, this journey, this story of this stubborn girl and this guy that just happened to be driving a cool car that day, and it's really, it is, the stars have aligned. I mean, Ricky has no business with a girl like you, first of all. That's a joke. I'm just joking. He's looking, he's like, dude, don't let my secret out, bro.
Damn.
Oh, no, it is. It's such an amazing story. I think, again, you're empowering everybody, both of you as a couple working together. And it's just, what a journey to think you get to do what you want to do. And like you said, I don't want to be in a cubicle. I can do social media. I wanted to be involved with therapy and change people's lives the way that they've changed mine. And how can we bring in classic cars and bring it all together? And really, that's, I'm sure you'll come up with some cool thing, but the Hodge Garage is, at the end of the day, it's like keeping more than just cars alive. It's like, hey, we're keeping people motivated. We're keeping people, again, just on the road with their classic. However we're doing it, it's there's so much joy there. And people have horse therapy, and sometimes people might want car therapy, where they're like, yeah, I get to go out and burn some rubber, and yeah. What you guys are doing is so fun.
Yeah, that's literally my Instagram bio is, my life is on wheels and my freedom is behind the wheel. Because
I mean, these cars, without people, they are just machines. We help give these cars life, and it takes two to tango. It takes us getting these things and doing things with our friends, our families, creating more friends and family with these vehicles. And there's a lot of soul in the classic cars that there's just an abundance of things that you could do with them and include people and have good times with. So
Yeah, the soul is exact. You nailed it. Like, you're driving down the road and I'm like, is that a Dodge or a Chevy or oh no, that's the new Toyota. You can't tell anything apart. There's not a lot of soul there. Whereas when some guy rolling in a 67, whether it's a Camaro, a C10, I don't even care if it's a swept line. It's like, dude, there's so much soul there. And yeah, we all have fond memories of everything that you guys have. You have great style, you have great vision. So I know, Ricky, your Instagram is a little different with the K. I'll let you guys go through your socials so people can jump on and follow you, and then we'll follow this journey and get behind you and help out any way that we can.
So my Instagram is slick SLIK Rick67. Ellie's is
I feel like we have so many socials. So my car social media is Hell on Wheels, and there's a hell.on.wheels, and wheels has 3 E's. And then my recovery account, all about like positivity and learning how to walk again, is My Walk for Faith, and that's on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And then same with Hell on Wheels. You can find me on Facebook under Ellie Scromy, and then Instagram Hell on Wheels, TikTok Hell on Wheels, and then YouTube Hell on Wheels. Ricky's also on YouTube, Slick Rick 67. I'm primarily the video editor and content creator, so that's where we're kind of coming together with the Hodge Garage, and we'll be launching merch. Our first thing we're launching is we're having hats made that say
make carburetors great again.
I hope not. I can't stand them, but I can't stand them, but I'll definitely support it. So will there be a new at Hodge Garage, and will you transition some of the YouTube over to that, since you have all these different things, and to make it easier, just bring it all together?
Yes, exactly. So if you look at my Instagram bio, the link for the Hodge Garage is on there, and then all of the links go from there. So yeah.
Okay. Well, months away from a big day, multiple different things going on. We can't wait to watch this journey. Continue to do what you're doing. You're very motivating. Love the style. Let's make carburetors great again, or at least try. You guys, maybe with every pair of New Balance shoes you get a you get a carburetor hat. The Hodge Garage. Yeah. Anything else anything else to throw out there while we got you?
I just want to say thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
It was really cool. Obviously, knowing you as long as I have and watching you create the C10 Talk podcast, and hearing the different stories that you've been able to pull out of people, it's incredible for me to get my little story out there, Ellie be a part of it, tell her amazing story, and for us to just share that with you and everybody, and to be a part of this. We really appreciate it.
Genuinely
awesome. I'm happy to be the venue for it, and again, just keep doing what you guys are doing. The courage, obviously what Ellie's doing, and you're supporting. You know what I mean? You're the guy that decided to go get the axle, get in the truck, and not a lot of guys are going to do that. So I'm glad that she had the courage to wheel on up to you at the gas station and say, "Hey, nice car, dude."
Oh yeah, that's
Do you guys it's funny, where I met my wife, when I proposed to her, we went back there, and now the building's there, but the business is gone. But do you guys go back to the gas station? Do you guys hang out there? You guys have a little coffee in the morning ever, or just say, hey, we're going to go to pump number 6 again?
We passed it the other day, and we both just kind of casted our heads to the left and was like, right there. That's where it happened.
That's where it started. In the hotel that we were staying at too, where I picked him up. We drive by often, and I'm like,
it's impossible to drive by there without instantly thinking about that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I'm sure that you'll have many more memories that you will make along the way, all based out of Fresno, right? That's where you guys are going to home base will be out of Fresno. So a lot of good things are happening there. Again, we appreciate your time, and however we can support you, we gladly will. And I can't wait to see what this journey continues to evolve and how it evolves, and watch what happens on September 13th.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ronnie.
Okay. You guys have a great night. I told you, right? Great people. You got to love the journey, the inspiration that these two are bringing. And really, they met through cars. And that, again, is is just a unique thing. It's awesome, and I'm glad they found each other. I hope that you guys will give them a follow. You'll continue to follow them, be inspired, and reach out to them. Like I said, let them know you heard the journey, you heard the story on the pod. That's such a good feeling to, get some feedback like that. So, again, Ricky, Ellie, thank you guys so much for sitting down, sharing your story, and sharing your journey. All right, guys, have a great weekend. If you're out in North Carolina and you're going to the Piedmont C10 Cruise In and Cookout, have a great weekend. Be safe, have fun, and don't forget about all those other shows. Don't forget about our sponsors. I know UP Car Parts is having a Dad's Day 20% off. You got to spend so much. I'm sure a lot of our retailers are and will continue to. So stay on the socials and see what they're offering up. Thanks again. Have a great week. Late.